Hey YouTube, this is Manifest020, putting a new perspective on your life. Today I wanted to talk about self-awareness, because I mentioned it in my last video, but I didn't really get into it. And I also want to talk about some things that go along with self-awareness, and these are judgment, denial, and acceptance. So exactly do I mean about self-awareness? What am I talking about? And I'm going to use an analogy that you're reading a book, okay? And you're reading a book and you're so into the storyline of this book, the pictures are in your mind, it's like a movie in your head, okay? And you're not aware of your surroundings, you're not even aware of yourself. You're in this story and you're immersed in it completely. But self-awareness is when not only are you immersed in that story, in that book, but you're also aware of yourself. You're aware of how you're reacting to this movie that's going on in your head. And that can be applied to reality in your everyday life. What are you doing to be self-aware? Instead of just being really immersed in your reality and trying to just, completely forget about how you're feeling about things and what's going on in your head every day. Self-awareness is about doing the opposite. It's about being completely aware of how things are going out in your reality, but also how they're affecting you and what they really mean to you. So self-awareness it's this key that we can use to unlock all these doors, to really learn about ourselves, learn about our reality, and learn about life ultimately. And when you start to really be self-aware, you start to notice these things that you're not really comfortable with accepting. And that's the whole judgment, acceptance, and denial thing, okay? What is it that you accept in your reality right now? What are you comfortable with? What do you just admit that's true? There are tons of things that we do accept, but there are also tons of things that we don't accept. And we don't accept them, it's denial, okay? And there are a lot of things that we do deny. And denial has this tricky thing to it, okay? Because when you don't want to accept something, you could come face to face with some truth that you just really can't accept. You're full of fear, you can't accept it for some reason, so you deny it. And the tricky part about denial is that your memory is structured around denial. It's almost like if you deny something, then it's going to be locked back into the safe of your mind and you're going to completely forget about it. So you can walk up to this door of truth and you can realize something in your reality that is ultimately true to you, but you can either walk through that door and accept that part of your reality, or you can deny it. And when you walk away from that door, you immediately forget what it was, what that idea was that you should have accepted, and it's locked away and you're never going to find it again. And if you try finding it, it's not going to work, because the only way this acceptance stuff works is in right time, in right place. You have to be in the right mindset, you have to be in the right situation to actually see that door so you can walk through it, accept it, and grow spiritually. And that's some of the stuff that I want people to be aware of in their reality and in their life, is that we come across all of these things that we're not ready to accept in our life, whether we're not taking care of our body, or that our priorities aren't right, or that we're not following our dreams, or that we're not putting out some kind of creative outlet. And instead of walking through that door, we deny it, and then it just disappears out of our existence until it's right time and right place for us to see that door again and walk through it and accept that part of our reality, that part of ourselves. So that's really what I want to get out there. And now I mentioned judgment, and judgment is the mask of denial, okay? When you have a judgment, you've taken someone else's imposed ideas, or ideas you've imposed on yourself that aren't exactly the true with a capital T. They're not the true part of your reality. So judgment is when you've put a label on something in your reality based on past experience, but the situation is different. So you're not reacting in the true manner that situation requires. You're putting a judgment on it. And when you start to really analyze the judgments, whether they be racism or whether they just any kind of assumptions you make on your reality, that's a judgment. And the judgments are like layers of an onion. Behind every judgment, there's another judgment. And in the center of all of these layers of judgment is the denial. And if you can hold on to that denial, absorb it, understand it, and accept it, then you become a new person. Your personality changes. You have a new perspective on life, and you grow ultimately. And so I think that's a big part of life that we're all missing out on. We all have our priorities wrong. And if you look at entertainment, food, all of these things, what are they doing? They're distracting us from this idea of self-awareness and from actually looking at what we judge and what we deny and what we need to accept. I mean, if you take entertainment for instance, I mean, why is entertainment so great? Why is entertainment such a big thing? It's a big priority, especially in the United States. Just there's a bunch of junk out there. Just entertainment to escape from your reality, and I think that's why entertainment is so big. It's a distraction from actually growing yourself, from actually analyzing your judgments and your denials to accept something and actually grow. It's all a big distraction. It's like, you're going to work at a job that you don't like, and so the only way you can really move on is to just go home and be entertained for a while. Just have something to forget, something that helps you forget all of these denials that we deny every day. And that's what a lot of problems are spawning from, is just this outlet to distract us from what we deny. And I think that if we took a step back and we actually thought about what our priorities are our priorities to distract us from our reality, to distract us from the fact that we don't know anything, to distract us from the fact that we're not taking care of our bodies, or that, we're treating people wrong, or that, just all of the stress that everyone has in daily lives, we have this distraction. And I think that's the opposite thing we want to do. We don't want to distract ourselves. We don't want to ignore these problems. We want to understand them and accept them. And through understanding and acceptance, I think it's a big key to healing past damages, emotional damages, and it's a big step to understanding more about ourselves and how we react with our environment. So self-awareness is the key to all this. With self-awareness, you can constantly be in contact with how you react with your reality, and you can ask yourself, what do you really want and what don't you want? Our denials are the things that cage us. We're our own prisoners in that sense, because we're not opening ourselves to our possibility. We succumb to fear, and we don't open ourselves to the possibilities of what our life could be, because we don't even want to take the chance. So instead, we have just all of these distractions in our lives, whether it be drugs or entertainment or whatever, so that we can just constantly be in this prison. And some people may blame other things about it. Some people may blame the government, or blame their job, or blame their fathers and their mothers, or blame their past. But the reality is that it's your choice. You're doing this to yourself. You're imprisoning yourself. And the only way you can get past that is through self-awareness and acceptance.